I'm going to tell you something that sounds like a lie. There's a billionaire who owes $1.2 billion. He's not stressed. He's not broke. He's not hiding from creditors. He's getting richer every single day because he understands something most people never figure out. The thing that keeps you trapped is the thing that sets him free. Same word, completely different meaning. Welcome to the debt paradox. Imagine a bank vault. Inside, there are two stacks of money. One stack is labeled your debt. The other is labeled their debt. Your debt is what keeps you up at night. It's the credit card balance, the car loan, the student loans. It's 20% interest and nothing to show for it. Your debt is a burden, a weight, a trap. It follows you everywhere. It shows up in your mailbox, your email, your dreams. It's the reason you can't sleep. It's the reason you feel stuck. Their debt is what buys them freedom. It's the mortgage on a rental property that generates $800 a month. The business loan that funds a new location. The low-interest loan on an asset that's growing. Their debt is a tool, a lever, a rocket. It's the reason they wake up excited. It's the reason they're building empires. Same vault, same word, completely different meaning. Here's the thing most people don't realize. The system was designed to reward people who use debt to create value. The bank doesn't care if you're stressed. They care if you can pay. And nothing pays like an asset. The wealthy don't use debt the way you do. They don't borrow for things that lose value. They don't pay 22% interest. They don't use debt to consume. They use debt to build. They use debt to grow. They use debt to create freedom. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, openly revealed he carries $1.2 billion in debt. He wasn't admitting failure. He was sharing his strategy. He owns income-producing real estate. The assets generate cash flow that covers the debt, while the assets themselves continue to grow in value. He's not trapped. He's leveraging. Let's look at two people. Same age, same income, same starting point. Sarah has a credit card. She charges $10,000 for a vacation. She pays 20% interest. She pays it off over 5 years. She ends up paying $15,000 for a vacation she's already forgotten. The vacation is gone. The debt remains. She's trapped. She's paying 20% interest on a memory. The vacation was over in a week. The debt will last for years. David has a rental property. He borrows $100,000 at 6% interest. The property generates $800 a month in rent. After expenses, he clears $400 a month. The debt pays for itself. The property grows in value. He's building wealth. The debt is working for him. It's generating income. It's creating equity. It's paying for itself. Same word, different outcome. Sarah used debt to consume. David used debt to create. Sarah borrowed against her future. David borrowed against his future, but his future grew. Sarah's debt took from her. David's debt gave to him. Here's what the wealthy know. Debt isn't about what you owe. It's about what you own. If you owe $10,000 on a vacation, you have nothing. If you owe $100,000 on a property, you have an asset. The difference isn't the debt. It's what the debt bought. Sarah is paying 20% interest on something that's worth nothing. David is paying 6% interest on something that's worth more every year. The math is simple. The outcome is predictable. The wealthy don't borrow for things that lose value. They borrow for things that grow. Here's the math the wealthy use. It's simple, it's powerful, and it's the reason the rich get richer. Imagine you have $100,000. You can buy one rental property for cash. It generates $800 a month. That's a 9.6% annual return. Not bad. You're making money. You're building wealth. Now, imagine you use that $100,000 as down payments on 5 properties. You borrow $80,000 for each. You now control $500,000 worth of real estate. Each property generates $800 a month. Combined, that's $4,000 a month. You're earning 48% on your $100,000. That's leverage. That's the math the wealthy use. That's the difference between the wealthy and everyone else. Here's how it works in practice. Robert Kiyosaki outlines a typical scenario. Buy a $10 million apartment building with $2.5 million down and a $7.5 million bank loan. The building generates $750,000 in net operating income. After paying $569,000 in annual loan payments, you're left with $181,000 in cash flow. But here's where it gets even better. The building depreciates over 27.5 years, about $291,000 a year on paper. That creates a $110,000 loss on your taxes, even though you made $181,000 in cash. Result? No taxes owed. You get paid to own an asset that's growing in value. Let me say that again. You get paid to own an asset that's growing in value, while paying no taxes. That's the power of leverage. That's the power of good debt. The wealthy don't just use debt to buy assets. They use debt to make money, avoid taxes, and build generational wealth, all at the same time. Here's something the wealthy know that most people don't. Something that sounds counterintuitive. Something that flips everything you think you know. Inflation is your enemy if you're a saver. It's your ally if you're a borrower. When you have fixed-rate debt and inflation rises, your debt becomes cheaper in real terms. Your monthly payment stays the same, but the dollars you use to pay it are worth less every year. Meanwhile, the assets you bought with that debt, real estate, businesses, stocks, tend to rise in value with inflation. Think about it. If you owe $100,000 at 5% interest and inflation is running at 3%, your real interest rate is only 2%. The bank is effectively paying you to hold their money. The wealthy understand this. They don't fear inflation. They use it. Donald Trump built a real estate empire using this exact principle. He borrowed heavily to buy properties. Over decades, inflation made his debt cheaper while his properties skyrocketed in value. Same principle, same result. Here's the part most people miss. When inflation rises, the value of your debt goes down. The dollars you owe are worth less, but the value of your assets goes up. The gap between what you owe and what you own gets wider. You're not just making money, you're building a machine. The wealthy don't just use debt to buy assets. They use debt to buy time, to buy freedom, to buy their future. And the math works because assets grow while debt shrinks. The wealthy use debt in ways most people never learn. Ways that sound like magic. Ways that are perfectly legal. The buy, borrow, die strategy. This is the ultimate wealth preservation play. You buy assets like stocks and real estate. You let them appreciate. Instead of selling and paying capital gains tax, you borrow against them. You get cash tax-free. When you die, your heirs inherit the assets with a stepped-up basis, meaning they don't owe taxes on the gains. The debt dies with you. The wealth lives on. Leveraging stock positions. Elon Musk famously borrows against his Tesla shares to fund his other ventures. He doesn't sell his stock, which would trigger taxes and dilute his ownership. He borrows against it at low interest rates. His shares keep growing. He gets cash without selling. The wealthy do this routinely, and it's perfectly legal. Tax-free money. Here's the part most people don't understand. When you borrow against assets, the money isn't considered income. It's debt, and debt isn't taxable. Meanwhile, the interest you pay on business loans or mortgages is often tax-deductible. The wealthy aren't just using debt to make money. They're using debt to keep money. These aren't secrets. They're strategies. They're available to anyone who knows how to use them. The wealthy don't hide from the system. They study it. They learn it. They use it. And the system rewards them for it. So why doesn't everyone do this? Why are most people stuck in bad debt while the wealthy are leveraging good debt? Because there's a trap, and it's invisible. It looks like normal life. It looks like I deserve this. It looks like everyone does it. But the trap is real, and it's keeping you poor. The trap is the belief that all debt is bad. That debt is something to be feared, that you should avoid it at all costs. That belief keeps you stuck. It keeps you from using the tool that could set you free. The trap is also the belief that you're being responsible by avoiding debt. You're not. You're being safe. And safety is the most expensive thing you can buy. The wealthy don't fall into the trap. They don't believe all debt is bad. They believe bad debt is bad. They know the difference. They use debt to build. They use debt to grow. They use debt to create freedom. Here's the thing about the trap. It's not designed to keep you safe. It's designed to keep you poor. It's designed to keep you afraid. It's designed to keep you from using the tools that could change your life. The trap is fueled by fear. Fear of debt, fear of risk, fear of failure. But the wealthy understand something most people don't. The greatest risk isn't debt. It's not taking the risk to build something. The greatest risk is staying stuck, staying small, staying poor, staying afraid. The wealthy don't fear debt. They fear wasting their potential. Here's the paradox. The wealthy don't avoid debt. They embrace it, but they embrace it differently. They borrow to buy assets, not things. They borrow at low rates, not high ones. They borrow to create income, not to fund consumption. They borrow to build freedom, not to build regret. Robert Kiyosaki said, "I'm a billionaire because of debt, and I get tax breaks for borrowing money." That's not a contradiction. That's a strategy. The system isn't broken. It was designed to reward investors and entrepreneurs who know how to use the rules. The tax code favors debt. The banking system favors debt. The wealthy understand this. They don't fight the system. They use it. Most people think debt is a burden. The wealthy think debt is a tool. Most people use debt to consume. The wealthy use debt to build. Most people are trapped by debt. The wealthy are freed by it. The difference isn't how much you owe. It's what you're borrowing for. And once you understand that, everything changes. Sarah was 45. She had $30,000 in credit card debt. She used it for vacations, clothes, and eating out. She was trapped. She was paying 22% interest. She had nothing to show for it. She was working to pay off things she'd already forgotten. David was 45. He had $500,000 in debt. He used it to buy rental properties. He was building wealth. He was paying 5% interest. The properties generated income. The debt paid for itself. He was working to build something that would outlast him. Same word, completely different meaning. Sarah's debt was a weight. David's debt was a wing. Sarah's debt was a chain. David's debt was a key. Sarah's debt kept her up at night. David's debt helped him sleep peacefully. Sarah was trapped. David was free. The question isn't whether you'll use debt. It's how you'll use it. The wealthy don't avoid debt. They master it. And the difference between the two approaches isn't about how much you owe. It's about what you're borrowing for. Don't be Sarah. Be David. The choice is yours. And the clock is ticking. If this resonated, my next video will hit even deeper. It's called "This is what $2 a day in SpaceX gets you in 4 years." Most people think you need thousands to start investing. You don't. $2 a day, $60 a month, $720 a year. Small amounts, big results. If you start now, in 4 years, you'll have a habit that could change everything. Watch it. I promise you won't regret it. I'll see you there.